Hello and welcome. I'm your host Gadd, and in today's video I'll be going over my Holy Crusader raid build. As requested by a viewer, shout out to you. Thank you and appreciate the love. This build applies massive damage increase debuffs to bosses, buffing your team's attack speed, and while doing tons of damage. This build has made clearing my weekly raids so much faster, and even been useful in gauntlet raids. I'll go over the skills and legendaries, skill rotation, set gear, Reforge, Paragon, and legendary gems. Timestamps will be in the description below. Skills and legendaries. Judgment, the main damage of the build. From shoulders to yawning rose to activate trial by fire, which calls down bolts of fire from the sky, hitting and burning all nearby enemies. Condemn, for 100% uptime, buff and massive DPS increase, using the chest Akrat's Rebuke to activate Valor's Retribution, making Condemn empower your primary attacks to unleash a lightning bolt at targets, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. For the pants, Crease of Scorn, increasing the damage Condemn deals for each damage over time back an enemy suffers from. And on the offhand one, Torrential Refrain, the bread and butter of the build, causing Condemn to immediately trigger all damage over time effects of the remaining damage instantly. Consecration, for massive damage increase debuff and DPS targets, using the Helm Grimthrone Crown to activate Radiant Faith, causing Consecrate to erupt every 3 attacks, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. And on the offhand, Galler's Grin, the best legendary essence, making all nearby enemies affected by Consecrate take 22.8% damage. At the time of this video, this debuff does indeed apply to the target, and all damage taken is increased. It may get patched in the future. Shout out to you, Rory. Thank you so much for your help. Holy Banner, using a standard Holy Banner, giving you and your party 100% crit while active, but also decreases the crit hit damage. Pair with the Eternal Gear, which increases the attack speed while affected by Holy Banner. Sacred Fire, for the primary attack, for constant damage over time in DPS. On the main hand 1, the Bristle, and the main hand 2, Horn Splitter. These combinations of legendaries with Waves of Flame from the Bristle and the damage over time from Horn Splitter assist triggering Grimthrone to max proc rate and will constantly add instant damage from Condemn. Bonus tip, during boss phase changes when mobs spawn, I recommend using ult to clear trash mobs to obtain a damage increase for the remaining of your raid. Using your ult on boss will hinder your DPS, but if you're really hardcore, you can use your ult on open world mobs before raids for a 5-minute damage buff. Skill rotation. Lead off with Holy Banner in position that is in between you and your team and the boss. Next, activate Judgment, followed by buffing yourself with Condemn and Consecration. Primary attack the boss while maintaining Condemn and Consecration off cooldown. Combining Judgment and Holy Banner at a time limit will maximize your DPS on the boss. Set gear. Alright, at the time of this video, I just got enough to make a PvE green set. And let me tell you, this made my entire PvE builds 10 times better. First, 4-piece Vithu's Urge for increased duration of all beneficial effects and increased attack speed when skills grant a beneficial effect to myself and party members by 30%. 2-piece Angman's Configuration for the increase for my fire damage over time effects by 30%. This set is amazing and I highly recommend for all PvE builds, since the majority of all the Crusader damage over time effects is Ignite and PvP builds. I do want to test a 4-piece in the future. Last, 2-piece Banquet of Eyes for the damage dealt to enemies suffering from damage over time effects by 15%, adding more DPS support for the raid. Are you staring at my balls? Well, those are my Reforge bonus. For my PvE Reforge set, I recommend running Wildfire set, focusing all damage increase, crit hit damage increase, and damage done to enemies below 30% life. Primary attack damage increase is okay as well, but I run a 3-set Wildfire on all my gear to summon a Hydra, with attack speed increase from Vengeance and duration beneficial effect increase from Jolt. I've seen some recommendations running 2 Wildfire for damage, 2 Vengeance for damage done to demons, and attack speed increase and duration beneficial effects increase to really min-max for PvE builds. I will test out and let you know in the future. Paragon. For my Paragon, I run the Slinger Paragon with the legendary skill Lightning Rod for raids, and switch to Benefactor for a gauntlet. And the Slinger skills I run are Unseen Diasma for increased damage when attacking or using a skill by 1%, stacking up to 10. Uncanning for the increased crit hit chance when Unseen reaches 10 or more stacks. Gifted, increasing Unseen stacks up to 15 times. Careful Aim for damage increase from enemies by 2% up to 8%. And Precision to increase Careful Aim from 2% to 3% per meter. Legendary Gems. For the Legendary Gems, I will go over a few recommendations for the build using ditools.info/legendary gems. Link will be in the description. Starting with the 1-star gems, Berserker's Eyes for the damage and crit increase, and Misery Elixir to increase the duration to damage over time effects. 2-star Pain Class for damage increase when targets are affected by damage over time effects, and Viper's Bite for massive damage over time effect. And for the 5-star legendaries, for the last two, I will always recommend getting an explain why in my legendary gem guide video. Bloodstone Jade for the damage and movement increase, and Rolling Consequence, increasing the crit hit chance and burn all nearby enemies every 20 seconds, leaving the last two slots for your playstyle and luck in Elder Rifts. The Holy Fire Crusader build has massive damage potential while running with another Crusader. During Warband raids, our main party runs 2 Crusaders with 2 other DPSers. Sealing runs a Fire Banner Crusader build, so with Holy and Fire Banners, combining clears raid bosses with ease. Throne Crown damage procs from only your damage, but also increases the damage targets hit by Consecration. With Condemn always active, Torrential Refrain makes all damage over time effects do instant damage. So the longer the damage over time, the more damage is done. Using Sacred Fire keeps a constant damage over time effect on enemies, making Banquets and Pain Claps very effective for my raiding eye, and getting Chests of Glory every time for being in the top damage dealers with this build. A downside to this build is Holy Banner. By using a standard Holy Banner, can be one-shotted by bosses very easily, making it only for a certain amount of time. Placement is key. So I normally place the banner between my character, near, and always staying in position with my team. Then switching over to Gauntlet, I change the Holy Banner out for Conjuration of Light for damage immunity to myself and all nearby teammates. Therefore, this is my main DPS for raids. I also made a video explaining how to obtain better weekly legendary gear from raids. I'll have that link down below. Alright, if you do give this build a try, don't forget to save in your army, and best of luck with the in-game content. That is going to be all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate all the love. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, message me in game or on Discord. See you next time.